Hi everyone, Jeff Yasteen here. Make sure to subscribe to my YouTube channel, follow me on Twitter and on Facebook. So let's talk about SPACs, but I want to talk about one particular kind of SPAC that I'm seeing a lot of these days. I'll call them celebrity SPACs, celebrity-backed special purpose acquisition companies. Now, as many of you know, SPACs as a sector has been one of the hottest, if not the hottest, kind of stock out there these days. And what I'm seeing a lot of now are celebrities, athletes, politicians who are getting involved with these sorts of things, either as a sponsor or basically lending their name as sort of the headline backer behind these sorts of things, because they know that attracts attention from investors. Now, in my view, that sometimes means that things can be overheating in a sector like SPACs. Now, that doesn't mean there aren't good SPACs to buy at good prices. There are, but it just means that you have to be a little more careful, a little more, let's call it discerning as an investor. For instance, I just recommended 2 SPACs in my newsletter, my subscribers only newsletter, and there are 2 SPACs I have a great deal of confidence in. And it's because they are companies that are backed by very credible, experienced deal makers who have been through many up and down, boom and bust cycles with the economy and with the stock market itself. And also because the companies that they're in the process of acquiring or have acquired are companies that have a history of revenue, have a history of generating some cash flow, and often have a history of generating profits as well. So you're putting everything in your favor in that respect. And of course, it also helps if you're buying the SPAC or the post-IPO SPAC as it goes into makes an acquisition and it goes off to become its own company, that you're buying it at a reasonable price too. And you're not paying basically $50 or $80 or $100 for a stock that may not have any revenue and may not really have enough stature yet to make it all the way through a boom and bust cycle in the economy. And we're going to have those from time to time. But elsewhere in the world of SPACs, it's becoming very, very popular, too popular in my opinion, to become a sponsor of a SPAC or to be one of its headline investors. A good example is Alex Rodriguez and J-Lo. They have a SPAC, or it's just now becoming its own traded company called Hims and Hers, that is involved in a number of different businesses. A-Rod is introducing another SPAC that wants to buy into a sports franchise or related sports type business. Shaquille O'Neal is backing yet another SPAC. And then you have Hollywood showbiz celebrities like the producer Peter Guber, who is backing another. And then there's also Paul Ryan, yes, the former Speaker of the House, Paul Ryan, who is headlining yet another SPAC. Now, maybe, just maybe, those SPACs will do just fine. We can never really tell. But a lot of what's happening right now does remind me of the run-up to the financial crisis in 2007, where we had, like a former CNBC anchor who left his anchor desk to go start up a hedge fund. And, that you can't knock somebody for wanting to do that. But on the other hand, if you aren't bringing a particular strategy or the know-how behind it, and it's really just your name, that may not be the best way to have real success as a hedge fund manager, and certainly not for your hedge fund clients. And just a couple years after the formation of that hedge fund, they had to close it. Or around that same time, we had the famous baseball player Lenny Dykstra, used to be a star player for the Mets, who basically became a trader of stocks, a day trader, advised other people on that sort of thing, and also was a real estate investor. And again, after the crisis, all that sort of went away as well. So my point here is just that with SPACs, just like any other stock investment, one important way to give yourself the best odds of success with any kind of investment is certainly to focus on the people behind it having the most credibility, the most experience. And that's certainly the case when it comes to choosing a SPAC, investing in a SPAC, because that's essentially all you have to go on at the point before they make an acquisition. is the credibility and experience of that individual taking the money that you've purchased, on the initial public offering, taking that money and making a good acquisition of a good company with good CEOs at the helm, and of course doing it at a good price as well. So my point here is just that at times like now, with the stock market going higher and higher, it's just easy to lose sight of common sense and to lose a natural skepticism that helps all of us, I think, in the stock market. And so then we wind up buying into stock ideas that, may not be the kind that a year or 2 years later, you might look back and say, why did I ever buy that, right? So make sure you make the right investments at the start so you have the potential for fewer mistakes further down the road. If you like what I'm talking about, make sure to subscribe to my YouTube channel, follow me on Twitter and Facebook.